Okay. Welcome to America 250 years. Black people helped build this nation and we ain't going back. Thank you for coming to the Hillsborough County Democratic Black Caucus Candidate Forum for 2026. And I'm Angela Birdsong, your president. Just to let you know, this is a Democratic Party event, and we're here to show you the best that the Democratic Party has to offer you for the primary, which will be August the 18th in the state of Florida. This is our first election cycle since the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which gave Republican governors the right to rip up our Democratic districts throughout the South, including Florida, which this has affected our congressional races. So I've asked the candidates to tell you about the district that they're running in so you can know if you live there. This is part of our endorsement process. We send out a questionnaire to each candidate. We ask them to please participate in our forum if able. And then everyone who is a member of the Democratic Black Caucus for Hillsborough County will receive a survey. And then you vote as to who you think we should endorse. That's a good reason to be a member of the Hillsborough County Democratic Black Caucus. Don't you think so? Yes. And you can also vote for officers. And we do have elections coming up next year. On your seat is the way that you can become a member. That's if you go to hcddbc.org. That is our initials. So it's easy to remember. All righty. So you know what? Just a little bit of housekeeping real quick. Yeah. If you need to vote, sign up for vote. Sign up to vote or if you need to, or vote by mail. Okay, sorry about that. No, you're good. This one's good? Okay. Voter services to my left. Raise your hand. That's Miss Lois. She's there from the Democratic Party, and Marlene, I think, is there too. And they can help you with any voter services that you may need. If you know someone who wants to see the televised version of this event, please see Rhonda. Rhonda, who is our treasurer. Where's Rhonda? Rhonda, she's raising her hand over there. She can help you with the Zoom link. All right, I think we're just going to go ahead and get started with our very first panel. But I'd like to introduce to you the Honorable Diane Hart. She is a current city representative until the election is held for the great state of Florida. She is a former business owner. She has served her community. And here's
everybody that's not seated, there are some chairs over in the corner that you can come and have a seat where the young man has his hand up.
And I am going to give I'm going to give this mic. I am not working.
And I will bring it back to you all.
Oh, okay. I think it's.
They're currently working on the batteries, which I'm sure. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Hillsborough County Democratic Black Caucus Candidate Forum. We are live here in the community room at the beautiful C. Blythe Andrews Library for those people back at home who are watching. For those, and she did introduce me, who don't really know me, I am honored to serve 8 years in the Florida House of Representatives. So I'm Mr. Service, your moderator this evening, for this critical evening of civic engagement. The mission of the Democratic Black Caucus is to ensure economic, social, and political awareness and to support leadership that reflects the urgent priorities and everyday issues of our community. So tonight we have a packed house and we're going to begin with our school board. Some rules. You will have 1 minute to answer the question. You have a timekeeper. And where's my timekeeper? Okay. The timekeeper is sitting here. When he gets to 30 seconds, he will raise his card and then he will stand up when your time has completely run out. And the reason the time is so tight, you all, is because we have so many candidates. And that's the only reason. But you'll get an opportunity to stay and talk to the candidates if you like after the forum is over. Do I have questions from the community for my school board?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
You have to provide, okay. Card takers, could you all please get the cards for me so that I'll have them? Well, until then, let's get started. We're going to ask each one of you to take 1 minute and tell us what race you're running, what district you're running in, and what does that district look like?
Chris Taylor, Hillsborough County School Board District 2. District 2 runs from McDill all the way up to the interstate, across through downtown, Harbor Island, Davis Island, around Riverview, all the way down to Apollo Beach. It circles the water in a crescent. And I grew up in Lakeland. I went to school at Vanderbilt, have a bachelor's in political science and psychology. I'm a doctoral candidate at USF Mooma College of Business and Information Systems and Management. Classroom teacher for a decade, 6 years as an administrator, 25 years as a businessman. Took a company public with several friends after starting some commercial real estate companies and a modest private equity firm. And today I still work with that public company. I've also served on almost every nonprofit education board that exists out there. I've been the chairman of the board for the Hillsborough Education Foundation, chairman of the board for the Hillsborough Community College Foundation, the co-chair of the Dean's Advisory, Executive Advisory Board for the College of Education up at USF. I chair the William Gregory Foundation, and I sit on the Stavros Center board.
Thank you.
Karen Perez, I currently am chair of the Hillsborough County Schools. Ran in 2018, and it's countywide. So anywhere that Hillsborough touches is District 6. I'm running for re-election, and I am a social worker, licensed clinical social worker, certified traumatologist, and certified in many other areas that are there. And just looking to continue the work that I'm doing and have in school.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daniela Simic. I'm running for District 2, the same as Mr. Taylor, which is South Tampa and South County. I'm running because I believe in the power of education. Every child, regardless of their zip code, regardless of their learning differences, has a chance to succeed if given access to a great education. And I've dedicated the past 25 years of my career towards helping make that a reality. I started as a classroom teacher, worked my way up through leadership positions at both the district and the state level, and spent the majority of my career doing the ground level work in our lowest performing schools, helping to close the very real achievement gap that exists in our school system. I'm currently the Vice President of Advocacy for our school district's PTA and the proud mom of a 4th grader. And I obviously believe in the power of parents having a voice in their child's education, but I'm also, through my work, aware of the reality that not every child has someone advocating for them. We have children sitting in our classrooms every day dealing with challenges that some of us can't begin to imagine. So it is our responsibility to speak up not just for our children and grandchildren, but for all children, and that is why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. We do have some questions from the community. Obesity in children a growing problem in the United States. How is the school board addressing the obesity problem here in Hillsborough County? Is there a plan to change school lunches? And each one of you can answer that question, please.
Yes, recently we've been looking at the nutrition issues, and moving a little bit more towards a more natural, base in our lunchrooms. That's, as far as more, fruits and vegetables, but also, a more, nutritious, lunch for our students. Working towards that, getting a little bit more closer to it, but with the food and nutrition services, and we're working towards that.
To go with what Karen was sharing, recently, I'm also the president of my son's PTA, and there it came up the question of the parents saying, what are we doing, or why is our food not as healthy as we would want it to be? And we worked with the school district, and they explained to us something that was really surprising to me. But the ingredients that's in the food in the cafeterias is, like Karen said, it's more that all natural ingredients, even down to the cookies, using whole grains. And it's something that I shared, that's not really something that our parents know. I shared it back with the parents, and they were all quite surprised to hear that. So we're heading in the right direction. I think we need to make sure that we're messaging that and marketing it to our families so they realize that. And then also really need to cut back on the additional snacks that our children can buy in the schools, which is something that you can do at each individual school level.
Wow. Wow, how ironic, because I remember that half of the country was up in arms because Michelle Obama was trying to tell us what we could feed our kids when she was trying to provide healthy lunches. So I will say that Daniela's experience is exactly what mine has been anecdotally. Nutrition people at the schools are some of the most caring and passionate about every student, employees that we have there. One year, the student support employee of the year was a food nutrition person at one of the high schools. And I can tell you, it matters, and they do care. And sometimes parents think they hear things on the internet or something, and that it must be bad. And surprise, when you find out that no, they're taking every effort to have something that's healthy.
Thank you very much. Listen, school board, what's your opinion on the elected superintendents, and why would you want an elected superintendent or not?
I'll go first this time. And I'm going to point out the thing that they don't point out. You've seen all the school board members share reasons why it's not a good idea in different organizations, but I'm going to give you the most real one. To be elected to the head of the largest economic entity in Hillsborough County, to make that elected, you've got to have a lot of money. To have a lot of money, what's going to happen is you're going to create a political committee where people can donate unlimited amounts. And some developer is going to come and go, hey, I want you to be our next superintendent. Here's $500,000 for your campaign. Oh, by the way, I want you to remember I gave you this when I'm going to come to you and talk to you about buying Jefferson High School site or the Brewster Tech site. This is an open invitation for corruption, and it's not even something you have to be imaginative to come up with. All the politicians in this room will tell you that's exactly what's going to happen. Yep. And we will never lure somebody in here if they have to go through an elected process.
So, for those who remember, we had an elected superintendent years ago, and corruption was right in there, and it kind of slapped us in the face. here in Hillsborough County. And we went back to unappointed superintendent. So it didn't work here in Hillsborough County. So going back to that, it will be a fail. The school board members have formula. It's to hire the superintendent, the budget, to hire the board attorney, and to write policy. So once you remove that, to hire the superintendent, you tie it on hands. Because then the superintendent can do whatever he wants with your schools, with your students, and the board is no longer in control of this. And like was said, you know, he can be bought and sold to whoever comes along with the highest bidder.
In 2024, on the ballot, there was a measure to have school board members be partisan, and that measure failed. So now they're bringing it back to say, okay, that failed. Let's continue to try and get politics into our schools and have the superintendent now be an elected official. We would be the largest district in the nation with an elected official. We're the 7th largest district. We had 218,000 kids and 23,000 employees. Just imagine what that would bring in from just other companies and other, you know, interest groups that would want to be a part of what that decisions are of that elected official. I'm an educator. I was a teacher, a school leader, a district leader, a state leader. I want my leader to also be an educator. And you're taking a really big risk when you make it an elected official because it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be someone with an academic background. And our schools need someone who understands the ins and outs of education. And taking that risk, that's not something that I'm in favor of at all.
Thank you very much. The community would like to know, what will you all do about the lack of teachers? How will you try and recruit teachers to come into Hillsborough County?
So I think recruitment is a huge issue, but we also really need to look at retention. I've been endorsed by our teachers union, and one of the things that they've told me the most is that it's hard for them to stay, right? We have great teachers and they're burnt out. They burn out. It's too much on their plates. We're asking too much of them. We're 15th in the nation when it comes to teacher pay. They're already getting so little, and then we add so much more on top of their plates. We're asking them to take their work home on nights and weekends. We're asking them to use their planning time during the school to teach other classes because other teachers are absent. We're asking them to take on mental health. We're asking them to take on basic needs for kids. I mean, I would bring food and clothing to school. I mean, teachers are kind-hearted people. They go above and beyond and they burn out. So as school board members, we have the ability to create policies that help improve their working conditions and make it so that we can retain them. Because yes, recruitment is a big part of it, but when you look at the numbers, it's the teachers that we're losing in those first few years because they just, it's not what they thought it was going to be.
Teacher pay. Teacher pay, a lot of our teachers are leaving because they're not making a livable wage. So we're working towards that. You know, we could work what we can work here in the district, but we also need that push from Tallahassee to be able to allow us to be able to provide that livable wage for a teacher. When we don't have the funding locally, you know, we need Tallahassee, and just recently, the budget was passed. The budget was passed in Tallahassee, and it took some of our money away again. So it continues, we continue to get hit where we need to be lifted. And our teachers are the ones who are feeling the brunt of it. So we continue to try to move that needle forward to provide them with a livable wage, and we'll continue to do that here in Hillsborough County to provide them with those raises that they need, but we also need that support.
So I'm glad to hear that Danielle is agreeing with me on retention. And I will tell you, because I have been beating this drum for almost since the last cycle that we had when I was speaking about the referendum. 18 to 24%. That is our attrition rate for teachers that we have in Florida. And can you imagine if Publix or if the Bank of Tampa was losing 18 to 24% of their employees every year? They would go crazy to keep those. Private business has known that it's far more efficient to retain your high performers than it is to go out and hunt new ones. Yes, we have a problem having enough new teachers. Yes, salary is a big part. I was on this speaking circuit for, 2 years ago to everybody who would listen to me. But first, we have to keep our teachers. And compensation is always their number 2 thing on these polls. And number 1 is autonomy and respect in the classroom. That's what we have to do to keep our high performers. We've got to treat this like we're the Bank of Tampa.
Thank you very much. This will probably be our last question in school board. We have about 5 minutes remaining in this particular race. With a record number of book bannings that focuses disproportionately on books that engage in discussions on race, gender, sexuality, and the question of authority, how do you plan to fight this attack on an intellectual level and help the minors in our schools?
Okay. Number 1, I agree that a parent should get to decide what their child reads. What I don't agree with is they have no right to tell another person's children what they can read. A parent has a right to tell their own kids. They don't have a right to tell others. In every school, there is a committee that's set up and done. I served on these committees at Armwood High School. I served on them at Lake Gibson High School. And I will tell you, in 16 years, only 1 complaint ever came from a parent of a child at the school. Every other complaint came from a parent who didn't even live in the county. And one of them didn't even live in the state of Florida. We have to start bringing control of our schools back to local control with local groups of parents, teachers, community members. They should be deciding what's appropriate in that building. And if as a parent, you don't want your child to read something, they can set it behind the desk. And you have to have parent permission to read it. Or you can't check it out because your mom says, I don't want you to have it.
So my voting record will show that I am not pro banning. We have policy in place. We follow that policy, and 99.9% of the time, the book ends up back on the shelf because that is how we process and our policy works. It works pro our students. It works pro who we are, how it reflects our students in our classrooms, and the policy is working.
When I worked for the school district, I worked in the curriculum and instruction department, and something that starting around 2020 is when we started to see this shift in a focus on the books that our children read. Not only was the focus coming from the outside for people saying, we don't want these books on our shelves, but it was also coming from within. Our state standards changed, and some of you may or may not know this, but there's literally a book list written in the state standards that our students are now required to read. And of those books, 30% of them will be on the state test. That's unheard of. And if you look at the books, they are primarily written in a time long, long ago, in the early 1900s, and they're primarily written by men and primarily white men. And you are not seeing diversity in those books. You are not seeing representation. And what that does to our kids, that shows our kids that they feel that they're not important. They're not seeing themselves in books. But beyond that, my child, I want him to see other representations and other cultures in books too. I want him to see successes and failures of all sorts of people. And I want all of our children to be able to have that ability. And so to tag off of Karen, we do have a process in place. We do need to follow that process, but we also need to understand that we are really fighting against a larger issue here that's happening at the state level. So we need support from all of our representatives here today.
Thank you very much. I know that we're running out of time. I'm going to give each one of you 30 seconds to answer these questions. So let's call it rapid fire. Since the community has given them to me, I'd like for you all to be able to answer them. Why are retirees not heavily recruited to volunteer in our schools by way of mailers, commercials, or billboards? Would any of you agree to do something like that to engage more of our community members? 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the tenets I'm running on is communication and transparency and making sure that our community is aware of what's happening in our schools, but also aware of the opportunities where they can get involved. Our school system is so big, our community is so large, so sometimes it's really hard to get the word out. I think it's really important because when I go to campaign events like this, I can't tell you how many people come up to me and say, how can I help? How can I help? We need to be more vocal about those types of opportunities.
We recently have been doing an ad and a advertising for members of the community who are retired, who want to come back into.
It doesn't just fall on the school system. For 15 years, I've been on the board of the Hillsborough Education Foundation, and one of the programs that they run is a mentoring program for take stock in children. Another one that they run is a literacy program where they have literacy coaches in first, second, third grade. They get volunteers from the community. If you want more information on that, please let me know. Yes, I wish we had access to the school system's contact list to where we could go out and do that. I say we, because I'm an old coach. Everything's we. I'm talking about the Hillsborough Education Foundation. There are opportunities, and we want to have you be a part of it.
Okay. Thank you so much. One last question, please, you all, 30 seconds to the second, 15 seconds. Children today are dealing with bullying, anxiety, violence, and social media pressures. How will you improve access to counselors and mental health services and behavioral support in our schools?
I've been requesting, and we keep on getting funding to increase those services and being able to provide the families with those resources for outside counseling to get those students what they need.
Yeah, I mean, this is Karen's area, but I think one thing to add to that is we really need to be concerned about the property tax bill that's going to be voted on in November, because although we talk about schools being held harmless from that, the wraparound services such as mental health supports would be affected, and that's something that our students desperately need more of, not less of.
I've been to 4 student funerals. One of them I eulogize, and I will tell you that for our young men that are in high school, there are no services. It's about relationships, and we have to stop having a state that interferes with teachers developing relationships and being trusted confidants and mentors and people that they can talk to. If you're a 17-year-old boy, it's not cool to listen to your parents anymore. It's not cool even to listen to teachers. but it's always still cool to talk to coach. We've got to build that support system.
Thank you very much. So if you want to give your website or your phone number or whatever it is you'd like to give, just do that for me and then you can rise. Thank you.
Terrific. Chris Taylor, and I am at www.electchristaylor.com.
Karen Perez at keepkarenperez.com, 813-493-77.
Daniela Simic at danielaforschools.com, 813-220-6505.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, very much. Now we're going to transition right into and that panel will be the U.S. Congress. That's candidates Darren McCulley and Kimberly Overman for District 12.
Let's get it off.
Okay. All right, community, pass me some cards, so I have some questions for you. We are going to ask. Oh, yes. There's also food and water in the back if anybody needs to hydrate. Please don't hesitate to go back. We're gonna go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to ask you all, the very first question is, please. But that's not in 12, so I need an Excel. Okay, that's fine. Okay. In 30 seconds, you all, please tell me why you're running and explain the district you're running in and who can vote for you. Okay. Thank you very much. Because you all can go ahead and tell us why you're running and explain your district.
So I'm Colonel Darren McCauley. I'm Florida State Air Surgeon, former VA management position. I am running CD12, which is just about half Hillsborough and half Pasco. It encompasses West Tampa and the surrounding suburbs, all the way over to Fort Ritchie. I am running because as a VA physician, I found the assaults on the VA and on healthcare as a sign for what the Republican Party plans to do to the rest of the folks here in Tampa Bay and throughout the United States. And I decided that I wanted to stand up and do something about it by reducing our cost of living, specifically for healthcare, housing, and then combating corruption so that we can make sure that the rest of the federal government is providing for those people.
Go ahead, Ellen.
Get really close, right? There you go. Did you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
We have an interruption. We have a special guest who is zooming in. And she is the daughter of a former governor. Yes. And she is also running to be Lieutenant Governor for the great state of Florida. And her name is Gwen Graham.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We hear Gwen.
Awesome. Well, first, thank you, Angela.
We can hear on Zoom, maybe she's in the mic.
I really don't want to take up any more of your time. I'm listening. I really enjoyed the school board's conversation, and I'm looking forward to this one as well. I just wanted to say thank you all, everybody there in this room. Thank you so much for being there. Your commitment to being informed on the decision you're making regarding who you're going to vote for on the 18th of August is laudable. For those of you who don't know me, I hope to be in Tampa soon in Hillsborough County. My name is Gwen Graham. I ran for governor in 2018, sadly did not win, but now we have a chance in 2026 to win. I'm running with David Jolly, and we are committed to putting the people back in charge in Tallahassee. It's what I've always known. It's what I'm committed to doing. Angela mentioned my father. I feel my father on my shoulder every single day. And this state needs new leadership. It needs leadership that cares about the people of Florida and the state of Florida, and that has been missing for too long. So again, I want to thank each of y'all for giving me a moment. I want to turn it back to the panel, but I appreciate your commitment to being informed and get informed about the governor's race. The primary is coming up, as you know, on August 18th, the general's elections on November 3rd, and it is past time to bring new leadership back to Tallahassee. David and I look forward to being the team that again puts the people of Florida first. So with that, I will stop. Thank you for giving me a moment. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
So you all can continue, please.
Okay, okay, this, you can hear me. All right, I'm gonna go through this really quickly, so I'm 2 minutes and 33 seconds on my speech here, so I'm gonna go through it quick. My name is Kimberly Overman, and I'm running for Congress because I believe that leadership matters, and our community deserves leadership that listens. For more than 40 years, I've called Tampa my home. I've raised my family here, I've built my business here, I've dedicated my public service to people who actually build strong futures. And as the chair of Hillsborough County Commission, while I was in office, I worked on many of the challenges that our families are facing right now.
Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Irizarry, and if you're present in this room, welcome to Florida 15. I'm running to be your representative here. So a little bit about myself. I 22 years of service to this country, summarized in 2 oaths, 8 years in the United States Army, 14 years in CIA, 16 years in CIA, sorry, 24 years combined. I came home and ready to retire and start the next chapter of my life. The reason why I'm running is not only was I disappointed in the results of the election, but what I was absolutely appalled by are when unelected officials called Doge were just allowed to run rampant through our federal system. Those representatives took an oath to defend this nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. They abandoned their oath, they abandoned their post, and I'm running to stop that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we greatly appreciate that. Let me ask you this. What are your 3 main goals when elected? If you're not already elected, do you want to accomplish? And that you would be the most, tell me what you're most proud of if you have been an elected official already, and what it is you plan to do, your top 3 things that you're going to try and work on when you get elected this round.
I'll answer those.
And you do have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
I'll answer the last question first. I've done a lot of important work in my life. I fixed Black Hawks in the military. I ran and conducted operations overseas. But probably the proudest, I've never been an elected official, but this campaign has been by far the most important work and the most satisfying work I've done. My platform has 4 basic planks, but I'll sum them up for you: health, wealth, public education. Health, I believe that our access to healthcare, if I were to pick one of them to accomplish, would be first and foremost. Not only do I believe it should be affordable, it should be accessible. You should have the same level of service, whether it's rural or urban hospital, but it should also be decoupled from your employment. If you lose your job, you should not lose your employment that day. The next one is wealth. I believe in strong unions. I believe in minimum raising the minimum wage and dignified earnings. And finally, public education. We have for too long neglected our schools, and we need to fund them fully and give all the students a chance for a future. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Actually, I had the opportunity to serve as the chair of the Affordable Housing Advisory Board for Hillsborough County while I was in office as your chair. And the greatest part about actually creating a housing trust to be able to build affordable housing in our communities was realized while I was in office, which was great. We were able to actually get many, many projects going. We are on the tail end of many of those projects that have now been cutting ribbons for the last 2 years. It takes anywhere from 3 to 5 years for a project to get finished. Unfortunately, that program has actually been cut by the current county commission. So we need to bring those resources back. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running, is to make sure that we're actually developing housing. We can bring back the types of starter homes so people can actually get in a home, because stability builds lives and it builds opportunity. Kids learn better when they have stability in their lives. The creating the human trafficking definitely made a difference in our communities. We had the Super Bowl and COVID during that time period, and we kept more people alive in Hillsborough County than many of our other surrounding counties, and got people back to work quicker than many of our other counties. And I'm very proud of the lives that we were saved during.
So my platform is based on 3 separate goals. Number one is a position is very near and dear to my heart, to be able to improve the access and increase the affordability of healthcare. It is truly a shame that in one of the world's richest nations, we still have people go bankrupt because they have the misfortune of becoming ill or getting injured. I think that this attack that we've seen on healthcare, whether it's failing to push forward ACA subsidies, directly slashing Medicaid and Medicare, also that we can fund tax giveaways for not just the richest people in the United States, but be clear, the richest people in world history, really is a travesty, and the American people deserve better. Secondly, as a father and a husband, I want to see a reduction in the cost of housing. That is the number one complaint that folks tell me on the campaign trail. They are spending 30 to 50% of their monthly income just to get the rent off of them. I think that we can definitely improve that. Number one, by stopping these tariffs, which have increased home building costs. And number two, by tackling insurance companies which continue to gouge us throughout Florida. And then lastly, I want to battle corruption. Corruption really is, needless to say, the root of all evil. Is why our government is not taking care of its people. Too many politicians in DC are focused on their own noted contracts, taking care of their cronies, really getting money hand over fist left and right. And in order to do that, they turn their backs on the folks that they're supposed to be taking care of at home. That's why we don't have health care. That's why we don't have the housing costs that we deserve.
Thank you very much. Okay. What concrete steps will you take to make it easier for small business owners in our communities to access capital and grow, especially after what we're going through in this economy right now and the last 2 years?
Thank you. One of the things we saw recently was that the Supreme Court pushed back on the appeal to kill the Woke Act. And one of the reasons that so many businesses have been hurt is because they weren't able to actually be appreciated for what they were bringing to our economy. So restoring the funding to the Small Business Administration, making sure that we're working with our CDCs in order to help businesses get started, and to make sure that our workforce has the training to be successful and take care of their families. So that was one of the options that I would like to see in making sure that the Small Business Administration and Economic Development go all the way down to our local economies to make sure that we're taking care of that when, unfortunately, the state gets in the way sometimes. But federal government can provide those partnerships. And as I was a county commission and worked with our current congresswoman, I was able to bring those dollars down to not only help HART for transportation funding, but also to be able to make sure that we have funding in our local SBC. Thank you.
So our small businesses actually contribute more in terms of the number of employees and the tax revenue generated than large businesses. And focusing on small businesses has a direct impact on the community. Small businesses understand communities, they employ people locally. And when you build small businesses, it causes an entire community to flourish. When I was speaking about corruption just a moment ago, small businesses and the fact that we have tried to cleave them off are a great example of corruption that is not as plain to see unless you pay attention to it. There's a reason why our government is focused on giving tax breaks to large corporations that have a singular head, because one person is easier to buy off, one person is easier to push around than a multitude of small businesses all trying to do the right thing for their community at the same time. So I think that it is important that we combat that directly by giving tax breaks to our small businesses, by empowering them to be able to buy property at lower interest rates, by making it easier for them to afford employer-based healthcare, and by supporting them in any way that the federal government can to make sure that they flourish. Because not only will it have a direct impact on our nation as a whole, but it will have a direct impact here in Hillsborough County.
Small businesses help the local economy become more resilient to downturns in the economy. Every dollar that's spent in a local business recycles in the local economy at 2 to 4 times the rate of their big box counterparts. You spend $1 over there in a big box counterpart, that dollar basically goes out of the city, out of the state that it's spent in, it goes into the pocket of a CEO, which is fine, but it doesn't help the resiliency of the local economy. That's why your locally owned businesses are so important. Also, to the second point that you had, when it comes to the startup capital, African American entrepreneurs have to face more delays, more restrictions, and more we get told more no than their white counterparts. As a congressman, as your representative, I would do 2 things basically. One, I would be able to lend my vote to grants and businesses that would be able to help Black entrepreneurs offset the costs that they may also encounter. But also, I would use the investigative authorities as Congress to call into question whether or not the business practices are unjustly denying people who are coming in their businesses for these loans and access to capital. That's what I would do.
Thank you very much. The next question, the war on drugs continues to be disproportionately impacting Black and Latino communities. How will you address disparities with policy?
My family is personally affected by this. My brother has been he's been sober right now for about 10 years, and it's one of the things that I'm so proud of him for being able to do that. I talked to him one day about what it was that he was able to do. I asked him, he was talking about that this is the longest that he had been sober, or it was one of the longer times. But he told me he was actually sober for a longer period of time. And I asked him, well, why were you able to do it? Well, he was like, well, honestly, I couldn't afford it. But when I asked him, it was like, so, but why were you able to stay off at the point when you had a relapse in the beginning? And he said, I just didn't have the tools. People just did not have access to drug treatment programs and being able to get that type of help. I would sit there and, as your congressman, be able to fund these programs, to be able to make sure that everybody, not only with alcohol and substance abuse issues, but also mental health and other things that really keep people from reaching their potential. That's what I would do.
I think it's important that we, in order to combat really discourage not just drug abuse, but the policing aspects afterward, take a look at how we police. By having a return to community policing and stopping the militarization of police, it puts communities in a position where they're more likely to be able to receive help and not be punished. Part of that militarization of police is pushed forward because of the privatization of our prison system, where basically there are some things, even as a capitalist, I believe that you should just not be making money off of. You should not be making money off of incarcerating your neighbors, incarcerating other folks in your community. We have the highest per capita prison population in the world in the United States, and that's because we continue to make money off of it and look at our people not as a resource to provide to the community, but a resource if we put them in jail and take away portions of their lives. As a physician, an addiction medicine physician, I am board certified in addiction medicine. I do believe that we also need to look at the stigma that's attached to drug abuse, alcohol abuse, make sure that people have access to medication-assisted treatment, make sure that they can get back into school, they can get back into work, that they have insurance. Once again, we go back to that healthcare, but they have insurance coverage for medication-based assistance and for social services as well.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate. You go, yeah. Oh, don't get back to you.
Not yet. I agree. I lost my son to an overdose, so I totally understand how devastating it is to a community. When you don't have access to the resources, when insurance companies decide that you don't have enough or you've had enough of the care that you need to stay alive, it is not your choice as a consumer to actually get the help you need. And it's really, the system is not set up to help you, as Darren had mentioned. It actually is set up to keep you in jail. It should not be illegal to be without resources or poor. But we in this country, we do it on a regular basis. Keeping people alive and providing them with the care that they need or the rehab that they need is absolutely necessary for someone to find the sobriety that I was able to find. And I'm hugely grateful to hear that that has been the case. But most people don't have access. When I was looking for a rehab center for my son, I was told I needed to go out to California and pay $125,000 a year for him to get care in these. Not a lot of families can do it. So we do need to fix the system, and as he said, get rid of the stigma and actually make sure that addiction health care is something that should be provided by all healthcare.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. Would you all please speak to voting rights and how that might impact us back here at home and what it is that you're willing to try and do?
We have totally destroyed our voting rights in so many different ways, but it didn't just happen this year. It's been happening for the last 10 years, where we've actually made it very difficult for people to actually get to the polls and freely understand how and who they're voting for. This most recent redistricting is a perfect example of a voter suppression act. Actually not being able to register so many people in the same way as we used to make sure that people had the right to vote. Your very first right in this country is the right to vote. And the fact that those that have actually done their time, paid their service, are still not able to vote is actually criminal. But Florida is one of the best states in the country for restricting access to the ballot box. And we have to continue fighting. When we vote for those in our state legislature and for our governor, remember, the people that you vote for are the ones that are going to kind of keep you from voting for someone else. So make sure that you fight this battle very, very hard. Get out and vote.
Yes, the way the districts are looking like is just probably the most egregious example of the assault on our voting rights right now. To describe to you what District 15 actually looks like, it real quick is everything right now is as far as for Hillsborough County. District 15 looks like this. It is part of north of Knights Griffin, west of I-75, and east of North 15. There's a reason why it is so so eclectic in their design scheme and everything. Where Pasco is everything east of 75 and all of Citrus County and all of Hernando County. 2 hours from the northernmost point of District 15 to the southernmost point of District 15. Not only do you have different maps and different people, you have different priorities. We have different messaging. We have different challenges that we all have to face. This is one of the things that we sit there and we see this going on and we wonder why is it that we're doing this. Voting rights is straight up and down ballot initiative. We have to sit there and look at who is going to respect our sacrosanct rights to vote, and we need to protect those for not only us, but for the future generations.
So your question was, what will I do to restore voting rights? And it will be any and everything. I will fight tooth and nail for your voting rights. My mother took me to the polls to watch her vote as a child because she wanted to make it clear to me that that was part of my responsibility as an American. We have not always had the right to vote, right? So voting rights started off with just white male landowners then all white people, or all white men, then eventually through women's suffrage, women, and then after years of generations of struggle, it was finally something that everyone could depend on, including African Americans in this country. There are folks who want to go back to that system. Now, they may not say it, maybe they will in code that they want to make America great again, but I thought it was great when everybody in this room had the right to vote without having to fight for it. If folks actually respected voting rights, they would defend it as much as they defend the right to carry a firearm.
That's right.
I think that if you bring that energy to the fight, and if you recognize that this is a new battlefield, we are dealing with folks that are not always being upfront, they're not always being true players, then you'll do whatever it takes to make sure that your community has the right to voices.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Now, for the next 30 seconds, could you all please tell everybody how they can find you and why it is that they should be voting for you?
You should be voting for me because I am going to Congress to represent your needs. I'm not a politician. I'm a physician. I'm an Air Force officer. I've dedicated my life to the service of the United States of America and to Florida. Here, when both of those hurricanes hit Tampa Bay, myself and every other Air National Guardsman went out to defend folks during the storm or exactly right afterwards. And I look at going to Congress as another chance to be able to defend folks here in Tampa Bay. You can find out more about my campaign at darrenforflorida.com, DARRENFOR, Florida.com. I hope everyone will join the move.
Darren and I are running in the same race, just so everybody knows. This District 12 is this core area to the west. I'm not running to learn how government works. I'm running because I've spent years making government work better for the people we serve. And so I want to take that experience to Washington and fight for affordable health care, economic opportunity, and voting rights, public safety, strong education, and economy that works for families. You can find me at KimberlyOberman.com. Our campaign number is 813-720-7719. And my office is over by the Seminole Heights Library in the heart of the Hillsborough section of District 12. Because I've lived here for 42 years and I'm going to continue to fight. Thanks.
So I've had a pretty good career and everything, but I've seen a lot of the world. I've been in the military and CIA. I've gone to a lot of places for a fight, and I've never backed down. I've been to the Balkans. I've been to Afghanistan. I've been to North Africa. And I've just never backed down from a fight. So if anybody thinks that I won't go from the southernmost tip to the northernmost tip of 15 and not fight, well, you haven't met me yet. My leadership skills that I've developed over the years in really difficult and high stress situations are just something that I've just been able to do. And it's something that I would take, it takes discipline to develop, it takes discipline to maintain, to stay on that leading edge of whatever it is you need to do to be a leader on. I will take that discipline and I will apply it to being your voice in Washington, D.C. My name is Christopher Irizarry, and you can call and support me through chrisforchange.com. That's FOR, not the number 4. And I'm running in District 15, but trust me, I'll be watching these two battle it out with my box of popcorn.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And would you all prepare yourselves to transition to our next panel? Meanwhile, our president of Black Caucus is going to make an announcement.
Mission candidates, come forward.
Let's get it on.
We have another special guest. And please prepare your questions for the county commission, a very important race. I also want to let you know that 2 congressional candidates did not make it this evening. One is Kathy Castor, and her race in her district has been torn up. They now have her all the way out in South County, including Waimea, Riverview, Providence Village, coming around in South Tampa. And now she's also in Plant City. and Dover. So Cassie Castor, her district is now moved. We need to keep her. And quickly, I would like to introduce a special guest. He's running for the great state of Florida for CFO. Please welcome Mr. Earl Floyd.
So I quickly just want to introduce myself. My name is Earl Ford. I'm running for the Chief Financial Officer. And for a lot of people, they may not know what that means because we never had, well, it's been a while since we've had an effective CFO. What the CFO has oversight right now of is the insurance industry. We're under an insurance crisis, which is driving Floridians out of Florida. It's one of the biggest bills that Floridians have seen. CFO has direct oversight of that. You see the atrocities and this waste of money that we see with going on with Alligator Alcatraz. That's the CFO. If you care about the air, water, land, how the state sells, how it develops, what the state does with clemency, restoring rights, that's the CFO. If you want, we get a Democratic governor and you want him to be effective, the CFO could be an important ally, but if we get a Republican governor, it can serve as an important check. I've spent the last 15 years of my life in public service as a United States Army infantryman. And then I went to law school. I was a prosecutor before working for the greatest three-letter agency in the world, the IRS, where I specialized in complex trusts, often exceeding $500 million. I want to use that skill set to bring back accountability and then focus on corruption, because corruption is driving the affordability crisis. And finally, I want to bring back leadership that we can be proud of, that our kids could look up to. And what that means is treat people with decency, empathy, compassion, and respect. So thank you, guys.
At this time, we now have sitting before you Hillsborough County Commission. Candidates Gwen Myers, District 3, and Twana Bradley are both running in House. Of course, I can't. Both are running in District 3. And then we have Neil Matamela running in District 5. Aline Rodriguez running in District 7, and who's not here tonight, is Cindy Stewart, also running in District 7. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Can you start right here, Ms. Bradley, and tell us, as you all go down the line, why are you running, and explain the district you're running in, and who can vote for you? Yes, you all do. You have 30 seconds. You have 30 seconds to that. Good evening.
This is on. Good evening. My name is Twana Bradley. I'm running for the next County Commissioner District 3. We're looking for the next. And the next is not about just leadership. It's about doing the work. When you're called to do the work, it does nothing if you don't put it to work. I started working before election. District 3 spans from south of Riverview all the way down to the north side of Hillsborough County. It spreads wide and it covers many, many districts, communities. However, all of the communities are important to me. Quick story, I started working before I knew it. I put in the work in Caucus Village as well as the surrounding areas where I was able to bring in support for those that were homeless as well as those that were without food. So that was just the start of my work and many other things that we'll talk about later. But the most important thing I want you to know is the work started before the election. And so when October the 18th comes, put me in my seat so I can do more of what I've already been doing.
August 18th.
Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm Eileen Rodriguez. I'm running for Hillsborough County Commission District 7. District 7 is countywide, the entire county. 1.6 million people, right, Neil? And bigger than 12 states. We are a very large county. So as long as you live in Hillsborough County, you can vote for my seat, which is an at-large seat. I am running for office because I strongly believe, especially at the local level, that politics and government it should not be partisan. It should be about serving every single resident, every single one of you in Hillsborough County. And currently, what we see in our county commission, not with our wonderful Gwen here, but with some of our other commissioners, it's just constant division and partisanship, and we're tired of that, right? We need people to listen to us and support us. So, I see too many of our neighbors struggling with rising, skyrocketing costs, and I think that's at the county level, we can do something to help our community. And finally, I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico. I learned to speak English when I was about 5. I will be your first fully bilingual Hispanic Latina commissioner ever in the history of Hillsborough County to represent all of our minority Black and Brown communities. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm County Commissioner Gwen Myers. The reason I'm seeking re-election is because in 2020, you all first voted me, and now I'm up again. By being up again, let me explain the district. The district goes all the way to 674 South Justice Sun City, all the way north on the other side of Barris, east to 75, west to Armenia Avenue. That is District 3. District 3 is about the people. I ran on the theme before. Some of my accomplishments have been, we just celebrated Juneteenth. I declared that as a county holiday. You should clap. Give me my time back. The other thing, I've attended all of our workshops. Our budgets is more than $1 billion. You're looking at a commissioner with 31 years of service, 25 years as a county employee, and 6 years as a commissioner. I'm at the table. I know what is required. I work across the aisle with Republicans and Democrats. District 3 has improved since I have been the elected commissioner. Yes. Oh, it's okay. But here's the point. District 3 needs a commissioner who will be accountable, continue to listen to the communities and neighborhoods so that District 3 can continue to prosper like other districts of the county. It's about the people. Today, I ask for your vote.
Good evening to all. My name is Dr. Neil Manamala. I am a medical doctor, the president of our county medical association, and a new dad to a beautiful baby daughter. And I am running for the Hillsborough County Commission at-large District 5 seat. All right, brother. Now, I do not have a primary in this race, so I am the Democratic nominee who will appear on your ballot November 3rd. And I am running in a countywide seat, which means I represent everywhere from here in East Tampa, all the way to Progress Village, all the way down to Waimala. And I am asking y'all for your vote. But before I do that, I want to ask for a quick pulse check in this room. How many of y'all in this room are tired of traffic? How many of y'all are tired of the threat of flooding that inflicts all our zip codes? And how many of y'all are tired of the cost of living here in Hillsborough County? I just want to say that I am tired too. What guides me in all I do, from medical practice to advocacy for public health, to now in this next step in public service, to be your county commissioner, is faith that brighter days for the Tampa Bay region are yet to come. So if you believe like me, that our future, a better future is within grasp, then vote Neil Manamala for county commissioner.
Always in your potential.
I gotta follow Neil. I'm in hot.
To our mutual.
Morning is y'all. I had a fundraiser tonight, as I kicked off my campaign for county commission district-wide, District 7. So my name is Stewart, and I am here to forward on a lot of what Neil said. We are not in competition with each other. I think we all have the same.
Normal cells, I'm sure you have remember the ballot our brain to handle it.
People are affected every day by this seat. This is one of the most important seats that we win this time around. You're affected by traffic every day. If you're tired of the incumbent attacking nonprofits, raise your hand. He's attacking all of them. Feeding Tampa Bay, the crisis center, who does that? Who does that? He's that brazen. If you are tired of the way that things are getting done at the county commission, this man has put himself in a position where no one will touch him with a 10-foot pole. Sorry, Glenn. Get him, Glenn. Even his own party up there won't touch him. That is in my book, that is no way to be a leader. I'm not that kind of leader. I have proven to you time and time again the kind of leader that I am. I am the kind of leader that brings amazing, good things to communities. I have a track record of being elected in this community 12 years. I wasn't gonna run in this race, to be honest with you. I waited and I waited, and some stuff has happened that I said, I can't stand by and let this happen and not get in. I trust the voters in this community. I have been there for the voters in this community. I have brought to you so many programs that I forget how many and how important they are to the people. I went to the crisis center the other day. They had a candidate meet and greet, and I love that Clara does that. She invites, instead of you calling her and making these individual appointments, she makes an appointment for all of you to come on the same day and hear the same thing and get a little tour. While I was walking through there, I forgot, literally, that in my office when I was the clerk, having dealt with every single budget of every constitutional in this community, and including the county commission, that one of the small things that we did was we put a computer in the front office there with a printer so that domestic violence victims did not have to go to the courthouse to file a domestic violence injunction. They could do it right there. They raved about it. I honestly completely forgot that we had even done it because it was such a small thing. So, is that my time?
That is.
Thank you all for having me. I'm so glad I could make it in time.
Yes, you did make it in time. So for you, because you were late getting here, the questions are 1 minute and 30 seconds. You will put up your one when you get to your minute, and then it'll give you your 30 seconds. And when he shows you the orange side, we have to stop at that point. So thank you. Okay, so now I have a couple of questions. My very first question from the community is, and this question is for you, Ms. Bradley and Commissioner Myers. What is your plan to support organizations working with at-risk youth, especially in the high violence areas? And after you two, then everybody else can go in as well if you like. We will all be impacted by it. Pass the mic back, please.
That's the mic. So as we all know that we already have problems with the takeover teams, and given there are now some activities that are happening, and so that is great. Well, that is just for right now. $45,000 was given from the commissioner, and $45,000 was given from the children's board. But when I look at it, it doesn't cover entire District 3. That's what I noticed. I noticed that it did not hit the 33619 and beyond. Again, as we said before, that District 3 starts the north of Sun City. It moves down all the way south. She said it. We're wide. So the programs and the funding should cover everybody and not halt. So with that being said, we have to continue to see what is needed. What I call is CCC. You first have to have connection with the children. And that's all children. From the connection, you got to have conversation of what they want. And then come and collaborate and make the change happen. How do we do that? We sit together. There's not just one organization that can make it happen. There are many nonprofits can do it. So we pull together and come together as one, we can make a difference in the entire District 3.
Let me make it real plain and clear in District 3. The $90,000, $45,000 in emergency funds from the Children's Board, $45,000 from Hillsborough County. That was my recommendation to both organizations. Okay? Freddie Barton with Safe and Sound, one of the founders, and sitting here is Cindy Stewart. It is covering the entire county. Last week, we were over at West Tampa. Within 2 weeks, we're gonna be at the 33619. That is, Ruben Pageant Park. And then we're gonna move it further down. Freddie called me yesterday, that date has been set. So you say 90,000 is nothing? Well, my opponent comes to the boardroom, but she comes late, so she don't share any public comment or asking for funding. The funding is there. I made sure that the funding for the team takeover was made available. So when you say it's not enough, it's not covering the entire county, the program covers every place the proposal was approved by the Children's Board and Hillsborough County government. Yes, it's a start. It was emergency funding. We're in our budget process now, and that's one of the things I included in my budget, is that we're already supporting nonprofit with youth activities. Matter of fact, I fund my opponent $50,000, and she can handle that. So I'm just calling like I see it. Okay? I'm calling it like I see it. You say I'm not doing enough? Well, I gave her additional year, so she can spend $50,000. My time is up. I shared what I needed to say.
Sure, please, time is tight. You gotta keep it tight. Please go ahead.
I think all I will add is that this speaks to the vital importance of countywide commissioners. Because any one community, any one district, any one zip code that is lacking opportunity, the entire county as a whole is hurt. So it's important that not just Commissioner Myers, Wanda, not just you advocate for your districts. It's important that all of us as countywide commissioners advocate for these districts who are in need. And I will say that no matter what Tallahassee tries to breathe down our necks about reducing local government's ability to take care of a vital infrastructure, like after-school programs, the discretionary funds that we as individual county commissioners can be used to help these specific programs. And I would say that if there's a project, an opportunity for a collaboration, I'd be willing to commit my discretionary funds as a county commissioner to help this community as well.
Okay. Sydney?
So the only thing I would add is thank you, Commissioner Myers, for asking for the dollars for Safe and Sound to do what they happen to do and what they will continue to do. Safe and Sound has been around for quite a while. I've been on that board since inception. I am the vice chair and the finance chair for Safe and Sound, and I will tell you the work, if you're not aware and you don't know of the work that we do, we are serving underserved kids every single day. Yeah. Every time you see a kid get arrested for a gun on campus or an altercation, guess where they most likely land? They land at Safe and Sound. They land with Freddie Barton. They land in a space where they can make amends and move forward. And that is because of the relationship with the county and the funding that Safe and Sound gets. That's because of the relationship with the judges who are seeing these kids in juvenile court that Freddie has built over the last 10 years. That is because of the relationship that we have with DJJ and the things that we are capable of doing to put these kids back on the right track. So no, there's never enough money, never enough money. We do the best that we can with what the state and what the county gives us, and we are always got our hand out for more.
Thank you. So I'm honored to have worked for many years served on the Children's Board Grant Review Committee here for Hillsborough County. And I saw the amazing programs that our nonprofits across the whole county are doing to help our at-risk youth and children. Of course, I think all of us agree that we need more funding, always. That's what we're always fighting for. But we also need to continue to grow our partnerships, private, public, nonprofit partnerships. And the incumbent in the seat, this Republican, has been slashing funding for nonprofits left and right since he got into office. And that's not right. Government is about being fiscally responsible, but it's about also serving our community and making sure that we are taking care of our own.
And so that's what I will do. I will fight for you in county commission to make sure we have that funding, and we're making sure we're growing those partnerships and getting as much funding as we can.
Thank you very much. Next question from the community. Please define what is affordable housing to you? And what would you do to ensure funds are available to be put into affordable housing in Hillsborough County? Anybody can start that would like.
As chair of the county's affordable housing program, every 2 weeks when we approve when we have Board of County Commissioner meeting, we have programs in there for affordable housing. I know that the Hope Funds was cut in 2020, this last fiscal year completely. But in 2023 and 2024, we went from 10 million to 2 million. I was the commissioner who recommended that the 2 million, working with Republicans, stayed there for affordable housing. So we are helping any individual who wants to come to the county through our housing program who qualify for the housing. We have additional subsidy funds, which is down payment assistance, to assist anyone here in Hillsborough County who qualifies for our program. The key word is qualified, okay? Thank you.
So, to echo what Commissioner Myers said, I mean, we have really lost an incredible opportunity with the decimation of our county's affordable housing fund. It's going to be important that we take this opportunity in November to flip this county commission from the 5-2 Republican supermajority to 4-3 Democrat. And it's not just about party there. It's about getting past ideology and partisanship to be able to say what actually works. A plan that folks like Kimberly Overman put together and Commissioner Myers back in 2019 agreed upon on bipartisan lines to take $10 million of our county's budget, which this year is $12 billion plus, to leverage that, to bring in matching federal grants, to be able to build affordable housing, responsible for the creation of more than 1,100 affordable housing units throughout our entire county. Lord knows we have a lot of work to do, but to say just because a Democrat recommended it, we need to axe it? No. We need to split this commission, bring that fund back, and also focus on infrastructure that makes not just getting to the house affordable, but also staying in it affordable as well.
Thank you. Affordable versus attainable. I hate the word affordable because what's affordable for me might not be affordable for you and vice versa. So attainable housing is necessary in this community. And Commissioner Myers, when I get there in November, the first motion I'll make is to restore the Hope Fund back to the $10 million so we can get this right back on track. And I hope you're going to be the second.
Everybody needs a good, safe place to lay their head on their pillow at night. Yes, that's one of our #1 needs: security, safety, by having a place to live. And that is something I've been traveling all across this county since I entered this race in January. Wainnama, Plant City, Fort City, Keystone. One of the #1 concerns that people have is affordable housing. So yes, of course, day one, we were going to restore funding to that. We're going to flip this commission. It's a matter of political will. There's no reason why anyone should ever cut housing. Never. And we have to fight for that. I know Commissioner Gwen has been fighting for it, and we were going to work together to make this happen. But we need to increase our housing, not in addition to affordability, we need different types of housing. We need more variety in housing. Maybe duplexes and condos, not just a house, but we need different options for affordable housing. My son is 25 years old. He's a graduate of USF and he works, but guess what? He lives with us because he can't afford to have a home yet. And we also want to part with our nonprofits like the Housing and Education Alliance that works to bring first-time home ownership to so many people across our county. There are lots of opportunities and we just really need to dig in and make it happen for our community.
For me, affordable housing is more about housing affordability. Because it's not just trying to get in a house, it's trying to stay in your house. There's many people that already have homes and having difficulty staying there. Whether it's insurance or taxes, roofings are not good, repairing the homes, because the economy is digging down into them. So I look at affordability, that's one. Yes, it's important. It's important for us to make sure that they're affordable. But as young lady said, what's affordable to you and you may not be for me. I have a story. I have a business where I have homes. And I had a person that was about to become homeless. Now I took it upon myself not to collect rent. I'm not gonna get many landlords that's going to do that. But that's because I believe in the people and trying to make sure I get a step up. And that's what I would do as a county commissioner, not give you free home or free rent. What I'm saying, but finding ways that you can stay in your home with those people that need rent coverage, extending the processes are already in. Basically, what I see is a lot of people don't know about the rental process and how to get in and how difficult it is to apply and qualify. So I would make it more easier for them so that they can keep a roof over their heads, so that they are not out and homeless, because that's another thing that we deal with the homeless. So that's what I would do in the C. I would make housing affordability for everybody.
Thank you very much. And that's all of our candidates for that question, correct? The Jackson House Foundation works to preserve Black history and serve the community. If elected, what specific policies or partnerships would you pursue to support the Jackson House Foundation and to protect Black historic landmarks? And that's for everybody. Don't be slow, grab that mic. Come on, I need you to grab that mic.
I'm going first, guys. Here we go. My son, I have a 14-year-old who's obsessed with history, and he's been watching YouTube videos about the Jackson House, and we drove down there and walked around it and took pictures of it. It is so important that we preserve our history and our buildings and our heritage. And I believe out in Plant City, we have the Beasley House as well. These things we can't know where we're going without remembering our past. That's critical. So we have to protect these things. We have to find funding for them, work with grants, etc. But because of what I've seen through my son's eyes and child's eyes of the importance of preserving our culture and our heritage, that's something that I will always be fighting for.
I'm pleased to see as a sitting county commissioner, I have funded the Calvin College, you're sitting right there on the second row. I have funded the Jackson House, and I will continue to do all I can as a sitting commissioner. And when I return in November, to make sure that you get some funding to continue to make the Jackson House possible, because that's the whole goal, is to bring that Jackson House back. It has a lot of history in that, and we want to make sure that the community knows the important history of the Jackson House. All of the local entertainers used to come here back in the day, and that was where they stayed, in the Jackson House. A lot of rich history belongs there. Not only should we tell the story, but every year we need to make sure that funding is available to go along with it so that the Jackson House can be maintained.
So our budgets are moral documents. They tell us who and what we value and what we don't. I think it is so important that we continue to fund our history, our ability to look back. I would be committed to making sure that Jackson House restoration and spreading the word about the Jackson House is a priority. It's also important that we work with other leaders, like our folks within the city. We can't be working in two different streams. And I would ask as well that for our advocates up in Tallahassee, that we try to find some state funding as well. It's important that the folks who are trying to take care of the Jackson House and trying to spread the word are not having to go in front of a local government every year and have to ask every single time. I think it's important that we do everything we can to find some sort of standing funding source to ensure that history is not forgotten.
So I don't disagree with anything that's been said. What I would say is I think we need to get creative on how we fund the Jackson House and the restoration. And I think there are a lot of developers in this community who are pouring a lot of money into campaigns right now. And I think that we need to have some conversations with them about what this means to them and what this means to this community. So I'm not opposed to anything that has been said, that obviously our history needs to be kept and it needs to be taught and it needs to be available for people to see and be a part of. We can't let people erase the history of what's happened in this community and what this community stood for years.
History is important to us all. As a Black woman, I've seen history erased from me. I remember as a little girl going to school and looking at integration and how that looked. And then when I look back, I don't see me. So the Jackson House is the same. The Jackson House needs to be restored and kept alive. To keep it alive, of course, is money. It takes money to make it happen. But the insecurity of the money being there is the problem. Getting it there and making sure it remains there. So to put in programs as well as financial programs that would make sure money's there every year, not over and over this year, but everlasting. As long as the Jackson House is open, I would work towards making sure that there are set funds already there for years to come.
Is there? Did you go already, Eileen? Oh, you did, okay. Listen, the people in the back would like for you all to stand up when you speak. They cannot see you. And some of them don't know who you are and they'd love to connect with you by looking at you. So if you all, when I ask the next questions, if you would please stand so that they can look at you. They greatly appreciate it. So do you have a plan to continue the Hillsborough County healthcare plan if you are elected? Go ahead.
Okay, personal story. 2 minutes? 2 minutes? I have a very good friend.
1 minute and 30 seconds.
1 minute and 30 seconds. Give me another 30 seconds. Yay. I have a personal friend who is a kidney transplant patient. He is, our children grew up together. He's a wonderful person who contributes to our community. He is alive and here today because of the Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan. That is the model across the country. They use it at Harvard, our healthcare plan. That is something that was started by the county commission many, many years ago. We need to preserve that and protect it and expand it. In a day and age where we are losing healthcare left and right due to what's going on in Washington and at the state level, we need this healthcare plan more than ever. If we lose this healthcare plan, my incumbent is trying to attack it over and over and over and get rid of it. If we lose that plan, our people are going to be going to the ER for their primary health care. That's going to cost all of us more money. So we have to protect that, not let anything happen to it. We have to fund it. We need to make sure it's efficient and we are letting more and more people that need help get that access. And then help transition them into other types of health insurance. My time is up, so I'm going to hand it off.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen.
Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan works. I know so many people that do not have jobs and depend on that healthcare. So that's a must. So what I will work towards is making sure that funding continues on and on. Also open up opportunities to make sure those that have been turned down, find another way that line of what do we call it? We call it the income range be lowered just a little more so that we can support more people with their health care. There are too many people out there sick. I know some people that really don't go to the doctor because they don't have health care. And so what does that lead to? Long-term illness. Long-term illness hits the pocket. And now they're not taking care of themselves. And like Ali just said, they will go to the emergency room. And now their bill is back on us. So we need to be more proactive than reactive by making sure the health care that we have in place is strong, lasts, and put more money towards it.
I'm Commissioner Gwen Myers, and I'm gonna help these two out. I'm gonna give you the facts about the Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan. The plan has been around for 35 years. Every time you buy something, 0.5% funds the Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan. So we don't have to send 0.5% funds the Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan. We just raised the eligibility a year and a half ago. I made a recommendation to the board, that was approved. So in our Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan, we fund specialty, dental, and vision, primary care. That's automatic. Even those who are incarcerated, we fund them over at the jail. Matter of fact, the sheriff just here 2 months ago, we put in a plan for mental health. That is a part of our jail now to get those services. So our plan, understand the Hillsborough County Health Plan is very vibrant. It is good. Yes, we have a commissioner trying to figure out how he's going to cut it. It is too strong to be cut. It is too strong to be cut. So I don't worry about the cut. I worry about what else that we can build to make the plan better for everyone here living in Hillsborough County. It is an excellent plan.
Yes, it is.
All you have to do is call 813-272-5040. Anyone that you know that do not have health insurance, they can enroll in our plan.
Right.
So my name is Dr. Neil Manamala, and the threats to the Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan are one of the biggest reasons why I got into this race. I've served with Angela on the board, public health board that oversees this plan. And if our budgets are moral documents, then healthcare cannot be a line item. To carry on what Commissioner Myers said, you know, this plan serves, they expanded the plan's eligibility to 175% of the federal poverty level. And for a 4-person household, that's about $58,000 annual income. For some critics who say this is just a small section of the county this serves, that could not be farther from the truth. The fact of the matter is that right now, our county's so-called DOGE committee has our Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan on the chopping block. This is vital infrastructure and serves not just the poorest and the least amongst us. It serves all of us by preventing our ERs from getting overcrowded, by ensuring that folks can get mental health care and primary care and specialist care in a preventative fashion. It brings in federal matching funds to keep our most at-risk hospitals afloat. It funds inmate medical care, but it also brought $5 million to support fire rescue efforts as well. It is essential infrastructure, and it has won awards nationwide for its efficiency and efficacy. Right. But every dollar we put into that plan brings in at least $1.53 for the Hillsborough County taxpayer, but it's also the right thing to do. Thank you all.
Thank you. Cindy Stewart for Hillsborough County Commission countywide. I can't agree more with the last two speakers about what's happening with the indigent healthcare plan. The idea that someone would want to cut funding to a plan that fills the gap between people who can afford health insurance and people who are caught between the gap of what federal funding will provide and what they can't get is crazy. I'm not sure what would happen to our community if we didn't have that plan. I don't know whose brilliant idea it was to put something like that in place. I am all for expansion of the plan for those people who need it. However, we can expand to make sure that people are getting the health care that they need, specifically the mental health care that we need. That's probably one of the biggest needs in this community. So I couldn't agree more with the stuff that's been said by the last two speakers. I would be 100% in favor of anything that came to our board that talked about expansion. I will tell you, the DOGE committee did attack the healthcare plan. And I have had a long conversation with at least two of those DOGE committee chair members. That I don't believe that committee's report is ever going to see the light of day. I don't think it's ever going to come to the county commission. And I don't think that there's anything that's going to happen based on the recommendations, and I'll tell you why. They didn't have enough information. You can look at the budget all you want for county commission, but if you don't know what you're looking for, all you're looking at is numbers. If you don't understand what those numbers mean, and you want to say things like, we're giving all this money to hospitals, where else would you give the money?
Thank you. Let's you all, because we have so many questions from the community, we're going to take 30 seconds away from you. Each one of you will have 1 minute to answer the next question because we still have 2 races remaining. So I'm going to take you down to 1 minute. Hopefully I won't have to go 30 seconds. Hillsborough County is facing a potential 213 million to 367 million revenue shortfall due to the upcoming property tax ballot that you all absolutely must not vote for because we need all of our money. The report is recommending 680 million in county spending. If elected, what specific programs or county contracts or services would you protect from being eliminated? And where exactly will you look to reduce your spending if you had to, because we allowed this tax package to pass? I know it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot to cover in a minute, so I'm gonna be really clear here. Vote no. Tell your friends, vote no. Do not vote for this. If you don't understand it, do not vote for it. Why would you do that? It's a bad bill. And I will tell you that there are people in this community who are talking about it and they're talking you out of it, and that's a good thing. Vote no. It has a 62% polling rate right now of passing. Typically, when you do a poll like that, nothing happens, but it goes down. This is not gonna pass. I do not see it coming across the finish line in November. Vote no, tell your friends to vote no. I don't know where you begin to start thinking about what you would cut and what you would protect. There are so many things that we do in this community at the county level. I don't even know what you would start. You gotta protect healthcare, safety, and transportation are the three big ones.
So Neil Manamala, I would also urge you to vote no on this amendment. It's been poorly thought out, despite the best efforts of the city representatives we have in this room to advocate on behalf of our residents to reduce property insurance as opposed to property taxes. They've been hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. We need to make sure, if it does pass, that our vital infrastructure is protected. That means supporting our fire rescue and public safety. That means making sure our roads are upkept. That means supporting our stormwater resilience so we're ready for the next hurricane. Because let's face it, if Tallahassee is not willing to do something about property insurance, when we invest in our infrastructure, when you know that your house is not going to burn down, when you know that your house is not going to get blown away by the next hurricane, this gives you peace of mind, but it also reduces your property insurance rates too. So let's try to do something about it, but vote no.
County Commissioner Gwen Myers, I'm going to champion to vote no. My staff cannot do it, but as a commissioner, I can lead the way, and I plan to lead the way because I already know our services will be cut. You might be saving $200 or $300, but the services that we're gonna put on everyone that it will be cut, and you will be affected. You wouldn't have to dial any commissioner office because it's gonna take place in 2028. And it requires a 60% vote. Understand what the two just said. A no vote, and a no vote. That's all you have to tell your family and your friends, to vote no. They don't see anything else on the ballot besides Gwen Myers and property taxes. Then you vote no.
I'm Eileen Rodriguez. Again, I'm running for Hillsborough County Commission District 7 countywide. Everybody's saying it, vote no. This is a critical issue. It's all about education. We need to get out there and talk to our friends and neighbors. This is a bad plan. I know people think it sounds good. Oh, I'm going to get relief on my property taxes. But no, what happens when the libraries are closed? What happens when the police and fire don't show up because they're not funded? There's no good alternative revenue funding source for this. So if they cut this, it's just trying to burn it all down with no plan. So, I think this is going to come back and we're going to see this in the legislature again, but this is a bad idea. And we need to protect all of our first responders. Those are some of the areas that I think that are going to be the priority, our infrastructure, and of course, our mass transit, which I'm a huge supporter of. Thank you.
Well, it's all been said, no. That's it. No, but what you can do is make sure you go vote. Because oftentimes we are listening to things, we're talking about, we're in meetings like this, but we don't go to vote. So what I will do is encourage you to get at least District 3, at least get 3 people to go to the polls with you to say no. Because we can talk about it as long as we can talk about it, but if you're not vegan about it, you're not about it. So vote no, but that means you have to go to the polls and take 3 people with you. Vote no.
Absolutely. Thank you. Please, quickly, you have 30 seconds to say your name and how people can contact you on your website, and then we're gonna transition to the Senate race.
My name is Twanda Bradley, running for County Commissioner District 3. You can reach me at www.votetwanda.Bradley. That's not Tawanda, that's Twanda. Twanda Bradley, Vote Twanda Bradley, District 3, or you can give me a call at 88, why am I messing up? 813-928-3742. 813-928-3742. That's my personal number. Thank you.
I'm Eileen Rodriguez, running for Hillsborough County Commission, District 7, countywide. I am very honored to be the candidate that is endorsed by Congresswoman Kathy Castor. Also, many of our elected officials that are here in the room tonight, we've been running hard in this race since January to get out and listen to you and represent you. So please vote for me. I will listen to you and I will fight for you. It's voteeileen.com. And I want you to know that I'm going to be bringing a fresh pair of eyes and a fresh perspective to fix the old ideas that haven't worked. Thank you.
Again, I'm County Commissioner Gwen Myers, and I'd like to retain my seat. I ask for your vote. You can go to votegwenmyers.com. Our personal cell number is 813-625-6550. Again, today, I ask for your vote during the early election, August 3rd through the 16th, and election day, or election day, August 18th. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Neil Manimala. That's Neil, animal A. You can find out more about my campaign at neilmanimala.com, and my personal cell is 813-455-4246. I think of this county commission race not in terms of one budget cycle or one 4-year term, but I think of it in terms of 36 years from now, when my daughter is my age. She's going to have more to dream of and more opportunity than we ever had growing up here in Hillsborough County. Vote no for the property tax amendment, but vote yes for Neil Manimala. November 3rd. If you believe like me that brighter days are ahead. Thank you all so much and God bless you.
Good afternoon, I'm Cindy Stewart for Hillsborough County Commission District 7. Vote no on property taxes and find me on the primary ballot on August 3rd through the 16th or on election day, August 18th. You can reach me at cindy-stewart.com or my personal cell phone, which a lot of you probably already have, is 813-505-9590. I am honored and excited to be here and I look forward to seeing you in November.
Thank you. So can we please transition? At this time, we're going to have our order. It's race, which is Representative Leader French's Driscoll and Representative Michelle Rayner. They are both representing the House District, Senate District 16, and Brian Nathan. Could you all please come forward quickly? I'm gonna bring Brian up for just a second. He has 1 minute to speak to you all. He's not here in the room. So let's bring him on and then we will go to our race. If you all have cards for the Senate 16, please turn your cards in now for that race and prepare for the Florida State Representative race. Get your questions ready for that race as well. Mr. Nathan.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We need the mic again.
Yeah. He was just up. Can you hear me now? Hello? Go ahead, Brian. All right, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Testing.
Hello?
All right, could you all, let's get ready for the next race. We're gonna begin our questions until we can get Mr. Nathan up on the screen and with some volume. So ladies, you have exactly 30 seconds to tell us why you're running and explain your district and who can vote for you.
We're not doing it anymore.
Good evening. I'm Ventress Driscoll, and I'm running for state senate because I believe that Tampa Bay deserves a fighter in that chamber. In the past 8 years that I have served parts of Hillsborough County, I've been so proud to use every opportunity that I can to fight against the extremism of the. I know I'm echoing. Can we reset? Okay. To fight against the extremism that's been brought about by the DeSantis administration. I have been effective, I have been steady. I've worked to get police reform passed in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. I've worked to get millions of dollars for our HBCUs in the wake of an extremist shooting in Jacksonville. I've worked to fund sickle cell disease to the tune of $10 million recurring every year, plus additional funding. And we know that that is a disease that impacts the Black community the hardest. I've worked to protect Black history and our abandoned cemeteries. Hey, no time. But we're gonna keep going and have a conversation, so thank you.
Good evening, everyone. It is so good to be here. My name is Michelle Rayner. Many of you know me as a civil rights attorney. Many of you know me as an advocate. I have fought in the State House for 6 years. I have been a pain in Ron DeSantis' you know what, and have still been effective and principled. I was able to bring back money right here to Tampa Bay. I have represented Hillsborough County and Pinellas County. I represent 40% of this district. I don't have to get to know this district. I am this district. I live in this district. I have fought for this district. I have fought for Black folks. I fought for brown folks. And I fought for immigrants. I will fight for you in the state senate.
Can everybody hear me now? Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everyone. And apologies I couldn't make it tonight. I'm in Orlando right now, helping the Orlando IBEW organize unrepresented workers. And we had over 100 people show up tonight, so it's been amazing work. But I wanted to thank Angela and the rest of the Black Caucus for endorsing me in my last election back in March. And I'm going to ask for the support of everybody in the room in the general election going forward, because I have to run for re-election immediately. Right now, I have one opponent. It's the same lady I faced before, Representative Josie Tomcow. She's decided to jump back into the race now that we are, running in November. So my platform hasn't changed. I'm still focused on affordability, working class folks in District 14. And if you don't know District 14, it's basically everything west of 275, plus a little bit of Tampa Palms and New Tampa. So again, I'd love to earn your vote. Please go out and support me. You can go to brian4fl.com. You can find out more about me, and I'd love to see everybody show up when we start knocking doors and making phone calls. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. I greatly appreciate it. Okay. Ladies, you have 1 minute. What specific actions will you take as a state senator to address the barriers that families in underserved communities face and ensure our children have access to the education and resources they need to succeed.
Well, I'll go first. So, that's work that I've already done. That's work that I've been doing. So I am the only candidate in this race that actually voted down the budget because it did not center our children and it did not center education. And I was still able to get money in the budget while being principled about it. So one of the things I've worked with some of our partners, I'm also working on the freedom to learn. So I filed a legislation called Freedom to Learn. So when we're thinking about book bans and we're thinking about teachers being able to teach accurate history, that's work I've done. I've also been a part of a lawsuit suing the governor because of the Stop Woke bill. So that's also work that I've done. So not only have I done it in the state house working on legislation and also making sure and holding folks accountable, but I've also done it as a lawyer as well, suing the governor and holding him accountable to what he's doing to our students.
Thank you. And in the immortal words of Usher, if you're gonna tell the truth, then you gotta tell it all. Can you hear me? What you need to know about the budget is that you have to understand how power works. I voted against the first version of the budget because it had anti-DEI language in it. Then I worked to help improve the budget and voted for the last round of the budget because it increased the funding for HBCUs. It had the funding for the African American Cultural Center here in Hillsborough County. It has funding for sickle cells. So you gotta know how power works to be able to do it. That's one. Two, when you wanna talk about the barriers that our kids have, I don't need to get to know the district. I know the district. In Senate District 16, 26% of the kids are living in poverty. 19% of the adults. That is unacceptable to me. And half of the elementary schools, half of the kids are not at third grade reading level or higher. You want to talk about a school to prison pipeline? It is a preschool to prison pipeline. How to improve our community? We have to start there.
This question, as a parent, I would like to know what are you doing to make sure Medicaid managed care plans covering medically necessary procedures for children? What are you all going to do to fight for that, to make sure Medicaid managed care plans cover medically necessary procedures for children?
Well, to start there, you have to have good relationships with AHCA. That's the Agency for Healthcare Administration, and they're the ones who administer Medicaid. I will tell you that in leading the Florida House Democratic Caucus, we have fought for years to expand Medicaid access to make sure that parents and families are getting the resources that they need. But part of what I would do, I work it two ways. I make sure that we're following the legislation to get it done. But then you also have to work with the agencies and have good relationships with the people across the aisle who can implement it. And I can tell you that in my constituent work, I've worked very hard, particularly with families who have kids who are disabled and had their funding and their services ripped from them. And I actually didn't realize this, but one of the impacted parents told me yesterday, when they went to the agency, nobody would help them. They went to their federal partners, nobody would help them. They went to local partners, nobody would help them. They wound up on my door and I fought for them, got the agencies on the phone, got a meeting with the secretary head and said, let's get them done. And they got their funding restored. You have to be effective and get results.
Don't do it.
You want me to answer that question? No, thank you. So I do agree. You have to be able to work with the agencies. And one of the things that my office is amazing at doing, we have great staff, is that we are constantly in touch with agencies. Even today, I had a community partner call me today about seniors that are dealing with issues when it comes to their healthcare and their Medicare. But when we want to talk about working across the aisle, I've been able to work across the aisle. Many of you know I carried the speaker's priority bill and still being effective and principled. So when we talk about where power lies, I know where power lies because I've actually been able to get things done. Passing legislation, working with partners, getting things in the budget, even voting against the budget because it did not reflect the moral wishes of the people, and still doing the work. So our office, we are always on standby. Many of you have my phone number right here. You know how to reach me. That's how I got called this morning at 8:30 this morning on my cell phone about what's happening to our seniors with their Medicaid and Medicare. And I got on the phone with the AHCA secretary and I figured it out by 5 o'clock today.
Thank you. The state budget cut funding for Medicaid and reduced funding for public schools and funded allocated Alcatraz as well as I know. How did you vote and why?
I voted no. And I voted no, and I'm going to talk about understanding power because that was brought up as to why I voted no or did not vote no. I was able to get money for the African American Cultural and Arts Center. We were able to do that. But my issue with the budget is this. It was said earlier, a budget is a moral document. It reflects the will of the people. And we had cuts to things as childcare, cuts to things that are happening right here in this district, right here in this Senate district. But yet we were able to make sure that the governor had a slush fund. We were able to make sure that money that was outside of the legislative process could go to a concentration camp down in the Everglades. I'm sorry, I can't vote for that. And I don't know about y'all, that's not something that I can stand up and say. Many of you know me, I don't talk out of both sides of my mouth. My yes is my yes and my no is my no. And I stood up to the governor and said, no, I will stand up to the governor, whoever he or she may be, and vote no if their budget is not aligned with the will of the people and the will of this district.
The state budget cut funding for Medicaid, reduced funding for public schools and funded Alligator Alcatraz. How did you vote and why did you vote?
So I voted yes on the budget, but I want you to check the record because I was the only Democrat on the budget committee and my opponent also served on that committee who voted no. I was one of only 2 Democrats who voted no on the floor for the first round of the budget. But I ultimately voted yes because budgets are complex. You're talking about over $100 billion. And when you can work and get that budget improved, I think sometimes it deserves a yes vote. And that is why I voted yes. But did I fight for fully funding Medicaid? Absolutely. Did I fight for fully funding our public schools? Absolutely. By the way, I'm the only candidate in this race that has been endorsed by the teachers unions on both sides of the bay. This is a district that covers both Pinellas and Hillsborough County. I'm honored to have the endorsement of the Florida Education Association and many other unions. So check my record. I served on the board of the Hillsborough Education Foundation. My mom was a public school teacher for over 35 years. God bless our educators. It really is a mission at this point, as much as it is a career. So yes, I worked to improve the budget and I voted yes. But check the record. Check the record. My opponent also voted yes to the process.
Okay. My mouth is telling me that I am at the end and I cannot ask any additional questions because we still have that house race. You say, what do you mean? So I have to ask one more question? The actions we're taking the senator to address the areas that families and underserved ensure children have access. That was the one I already did, sorry. How will you make funding process more transparent and fair for individuals who file for money in our budget cycle? The individuals, like not-for-profits or any business owner that's applying for money. Yeah, they staggered me with that last. Hey, it doesn't matter who goes first or second. Mike, go ahead. Go ahead. And just grab the mic, let's go. I'm not picking which who goes first or second.
So when it comes to the budget process, I think in order to make sure, the way I perceive this is make sure that our community gets our fair share. Because what I've witnessed in Tallahassee is that a lot of times their interests represented by lobbyists, but there are a lot of nonprofits who can't afford that, but they need access to the resources. So what we do to make it more fair is we have to be in touch with you and understand your priorities so that we can become your champion, so that we can become your mouthpiece. And frankly, one of the things that I've done too is make sure that I go to nonprofits and let them know about the appropriation process. In fact, there's a nonprofit that recently just came and met with my office. We're not in budget season or legislative session right now. They've never applied for funding, but I made sure that we gave them the document in advance so they understand what the application looks like. So they can come to us when we are in the next legislative session and be prepared. I believe that our community deserves access, and sometimes we get the short end of the stick, and that is not fair. So we must do what we can to make the process more transparent and accessible.
Thank you. So I've already worked to make the process transparent. So my office has consistently held appropriation town halls, whether they are in person or on Zoom. And what we do is we actually send out personal invites to nonprofits that are actually in the district and also individuals that are in the district. And we have folks come on and explain the appropriation process. It's not just me. We've had former legislators explain the appropriation process. We've had lobbyists explain the appropriations process. We have actually personally walked people through the application, and up until like the very last minute, we'll make sure that the application is tight. And also, because I do understand power, I have a relationship with the budget chair. I had a relationship with Lawrence McClure. I was able to get things through that otherwise would not get through Black funded things, because they weren't on that, able to get that through, able to get funding. And so that's what we do in my office to make sure that people have access and to make sure the process is transparent.
Thank you very much. Ladies, you have 30 seconds to explain to the audience why it is that they should vote for you and how to reach you.
Well, I'm gonna adhere to the 30 seconds. It has been a pleasure to be here. You can find me on www.Michelle with 1L for Florida. You can find me on Michelle for FL on Instagram. I am running because this is the work that I love to do. The advocacy, being able to touch people in ways and partner with our community. This is a district that I've grown up in. This is a district that I've served. This is a district that I live in. And it has been an honor to serve y'all in the Florida House for 6 years. This is not a consolation prize for me. This is something that I've always wanted to do to make sure that we can continue our partnership in the state Senate, make sure that folks have access to food, make sure that Florida is actually affordable and people can actually make sure their kids have good education. This is the work that I've done. This is the work that I will continue to do. This is the work that I've done in the courts, protesting with y'all in the streets, and this is the work that I've done in the State House, and this is the work I will do in the State Senate. Thank you.
Thank you, and I know things got a little spicy tonight, but I'm passionate and I believe you deserve a fighter. I'm passionate about this. I don't play about this district. I don't play about my community. And I want to be your next senator. I'm honored to have the support of every previous Democratic senator who has served in the seat. The leaders who you trust me. You can reach me at venturesforflorida.com. You can talk to anybody in this room with a purple shirt. You can reach me at 813-906-8941. I believe that we have witnessed. Dr. King said the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. We've been watching people try to bend it in the opposite direction. Black community, it is time for us to stand up and take our place. I want us to remember that we are not just a wave, we are the ocean. Let me help us get you there. Thank you.
One state representatives, that's Representative Coleman, Representative District 63, Robin Market, Justice Carly Lake. District 64 through 69. Those individuals, there is only one of each of them. That's Louis Salazar, Ben Braver, Jose Sanchez, Louis Guerra, Ashley Curran. Representatives, if you all are done taking the conversations outside, we need these few minutes. We only have, I think, about 30 minutes max. We don't even have 30 minutes, honestly. But for the gentleman, I think
Wow. Our last race and say no to all amendments. We do not want an elected superintendent of schools, okay? We want them to be qualified. We don't want to expand the county commission so Republicans can gerrymander all the seats. And we do want property taxes to hold for our communities, okay? So I'll make it easy on you. Vote no to all your amendments.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I have one announcement. On next Saturday, July 18th, at NFL Get Center, 3310 East Lake, please join us. It is a get out to vote event. Know your vote voice, know your vote, know the facts. For those of you who are like me, who may not have signed their signature card in the last 10 years, please come out, re-sign your signature. If you have moved, please come out to the park and correct that. The supervisor of elections will be on site to help you. There will be cash prizes given away that day. There will be food provided. But we want you all to be prepared for early voting and election day. So get your vote by mail ballot at that time as well. So we're ready to go, I understand. Oh, the time is 11 to 3 at the NFL Yet Center, 3310 East Lake Avenue. And the supervisor election will be there along with some other agencies. So please, you all, turn out if you have anything that you know you need to correct, because you may have been dropped from the rolls and don't know it, or your party has been changed and you don't know it. So please show up, check your information so you're prepared to vote. So let's get going. For the gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have about 4 or 5 of you who don't have opponents here tonight. We're going to give you 1 minute to tell everybody who you are and why they should be voting for you.
Representative, a real pleasure to be here. I know a lot of the folks in the room here, Tampa City Council, Louis Buer. I have the great pleasure of running for State House District 67, the race, or strike that, the seat that State Representative Spencer Stristle is leaving due to term limits. I tell folks, if you want to know what I'm going to be about in Tallahassee, take a look at my record in Tampa City Council, fighting for things like apprenticeships, fighting for things like the Office of Returning Citizens, fighting for things like better response times for at-risk communities, fighting for things like flood victims after the disaster of Helene and Milton in 2024 for many lower income and working class families. Those are the things I'm going to be talking about and fighting for in Tallahassee, bringing people together and bringing dignity back in Florida. Where's the time? I don't want to overrun my time. Okay, I'm good. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So just going to continue to fight for that. You take a look at my record in Tampa City Council. I'm going to continue to do that. Things like healthcare, things like supporting our public schools, and I'm done. Okay, I was confused. Thank you. Sorry.
Hello, I'm Mike Suarez. I'm your former Tampa City Council member from 2011 to 2019. I'm running to listen. There's a lot of people that will come up and make promises to you, but not many people have delivered for you. I know that just here in Belmont Heights, we had a problem where people were in housing that had Chinese drywall that was eating up all their appliances and destroyed their life. Those 4 families came to us through Connie Burke, you might know her, and she came to me. We fought with the developer and the people that have put that nasty stuff in their house and made sure that they were able to put more money into making sure that they could get their house built back on. Here's the problem. People make promises. You don't need a plumber that doesn't know anything about plumbing. You don't need them screaming at the pipes. You need somebody that knows what happens and how it works. I'm one of those guys that does it. I hope that you will support me if you live anywhere in West Tampa, McFarland Park, Egypt Lake, and I've only got a minute left. Thank you. Second left, sorry.
Hello, my name is Ashley Herman, and I am running for State House in District 69, which includes Valrico, Riverview, Brandon, Lithia, all the way to the county line, and Waimama. I am a mother of 2 beautiful girls, 1-year-old and 5-year-old. I am the wife of a Marine veteran. I am an organizer. I've lived a life. I'm a lifelong Floridian, 5th generation. And I worked at the Department of Transportation. I've been a server. I worked in call centers. I've hustled my entire life. And I found out no one was running against the Republican incumbent, Danny Alvarez. So I saw a problem and I jumped in to solve it. And I'm hoping I'll be on your November ballot and ready to go to Tallahassee and fight for you all. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Luis Salazar, running for House District 64, and I'm running because we have had the promises that have been unfulfilled for the last 30 years, and it is time for change in Florida. If you want to vote for the status quo, you can. It's on the ballot. But we've been voting for the status quo for 30 years, and nothing has changed for us. It is time to move Florida forward with new voices that are ready to take on the energy that it takes to go to Tallahassee and really fight for people from the bottom up. Thank you so much for supporting me. My district is from, if you live in South Tampa, it's everything 275 all the way to Bush Boulevard and everything west of Florida into town and country.
Stay and listen. Well, yeah, or be quiet and listen. One or the other, but go ahead, my dear.
Hey there, y'all. I am Ben Braver, the Democratic nominee for State House here in District 65, which covers all of South Tampa and West Chase. Now, I was a teacher, and I used to ask my kids, what happened today in history? One day, when women got the right to vote, I asked my kids, what year do you think that happened? One said the 1800s, one said 1776, which we wish was true. One kid said women got the right to vote in the 1400s. He needed a little more help with history. But what I saw is that these kids don't know how hard it was to win the rights we have today, but they do see how easy they are to lose. Constant attacks on diversity in our schools. Can you believe that? Isn't that horrible? The bedrock of education, listening to different people, learning new ideas, and they're attacking that. That's what got me into politics for the first time. I led 5,000 people on a statewide walkout across the entire state of Florida at every single public university because we were fighting for our education, for our rights. We need to be braver, and that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Hello, Black Caucus. My name is Keandra Darling, and I have the honor and the privilege of running for Florida House.
An opponent in the room, so we're only doing the candidates that have an opponent in the race to remain. The other candidates can move back to their seats, please, because what we want to do for the people who have opponents, we want to make sure that the community can hear them. And that's why I wanted you all to say a little something about yourselves. So if you don't have an opponent, then please, I'm not going to be asking you these questions right now, okay? You don't mind, or you can stay sitting there. But you don't have to leave. But I wanted the people who have somebody in the race against them to have an opportunity to speak first. If I have some time, then I'll go back to the other candidates. I apologize. Yeah, she just told me that I have an opponent. All right, so House District 62 is Wingate Newton and Keandra Darling. District 63 is Robin Lockett, Jacqueline Coffey Leaks, and Conrad Supay. Those are those three. And the others didn't have anybody in the race, so I wanted to do you all first. Oh, Louis doesn't have anybody running against him. Hey, Andrew, where are you?
Is it a Democrat? Republicans don't count here.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure that piece out. No, don't have just running against you. Like that, Louis and I'm running against each other. Everybody get the question. It just means you won't get as many questions because we don't have enough time. So let's go. I know, but the people who only have Republicans in their race going to the general don't have a primary. So that's what I was counting on. But that's okay. Let's get going. Everybody will get to ask the question. But I decided voters trust you with this.
All of this identity.
All right, let's get started. Everybody gets 30 seconds. I gave them, because I didn't know they had somebody in the race. You all get 30 seconds to actually tell who you are and what race you're running in and why you should vote.
28 minutes. If you would like assistance completing tasks, any staff member will be happy to help you. Please turn all laptops to the kiosk at 8:45. The library closes at 9 p.m. Thank you.
Let's go, baby. I'm sorry.
All right, I'll introduce myself again. My name is Keandra Darling, and I have the honor and privilege of running for Florida House
District 62, which covers parts of South St. Petersburg and South Hillsborough County in Progress Village, Claremelle, Riverview, and Gibsonton. My family has been in St. Petersburg for 4 generations, but I'm no stranger to Hillsborough County. I led the Harris for President team out of Casa Kamala, where we reached over 889,000 Floridians and door knocks and phone calls. So I know the power of organizing, and I know what we can do when we come together. I'm running for Florida House to protect the people who live here, to lower costs, to protect our health care, our education, and our safe neighborhoods. Thank you.
All right, good evening. My name is Conrad Shapiro. I'm running for District 63, Florida House. So after graduating from West Point and entering the military, serving for over 20 years, I came back to my hometown. I saw that I still wanted to serve. So I saw the political landscape, and I was like, hey, there's an open seat. Our great Diana Hart is stepping down after term limits, so I wanted to get into the political ring and see if I can have an impact on the community. I'm here to serve, so please vote Shupé.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Robin Lockett, and I am a candidate for State House District 63. About the community, I am for the community. I'm a servant of the community. I've been in the community for over 33 decades, and I want to continue to serve you. I've done a lot of local work. You can Google me because I have the receipts, and that information will come up. But quickly, let me tell you about me. I'm a mother of 2, grandmother of 2, graduated from Tampa Bay Tech. I'm a diehard Titan fan, and I love the community, and I want to continue to serve you. I'll be ready for questions.
Good evening. I am Jacqueline Coffee Leaks, not Maxwell House, the real thing. I am born and raised from Tampa, Florida, born in Sulphur Springs, and because my grandmother had to move to College Hill, I also was in College Hill, so I'm both sides of the town. I have 3 grown children that pay their own bills. Come on, somebody. I am grateful for that. They are graduates of college, and they were educated in the system here in Hillsborough County. I have worked locally, statewide, and now nationally to do this work. So I am ready. I have been doing this work since I was 6 years old. If anybody knows, today is the day that my dad died, Ronald Coffey Sr. He taught me to work and to advocate, and so I use that. Thank you.
My mouth and meditation, my heart, is helped with my sight, my strength, and the Lord, my Redeemer. Good evening. First, I want to pay homage to my beautiful wife. We'll celebrate 36 years of marriage next month. I love you, baby. I'm Representative Wingate Newton. I bring experience, dedication, and results. I served 2 terms on the St. Petersburg City Council, 2 terms in the Florida House, and from 2022 to 2024, on the Florida Commission on Ethics. Over 15 years of experience and the results, I was able to work across the aisle to bring home millions of dollars for 4 counties, Hillsborough, Manatee, Sarasota, and Pinellas. I ask for your vote on August 18th.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's jump right in. Why should undecided voters trust you with this office? We're going to start back down if you like.
Yes, undecided voters should look at results. I have my resume here. Every time you apply for a job, you should have a resume. You being loud is fine, but the problem is we do not get results. We don't bring home money. We don't get bills signed into law. With my experience of working across the aisle, I was able to do that, and I'll do it again if you give me your vote. Thank you.
Voters should trust me with this job because I am the only candidate for District 63 that has already worked with departments of the state, Department of Education, Department of Children and Families, Department of Juvenile Justice, Department of Agriculture, and not just work with them. I secured funding to bring home so that nonprofits and small organizations in our community get funding. Over $36 million to 5 communities around the state through the Florida Children's Initiative.
The community should trust me in this job because I've done the work. Locally, I've brought money in, $12 million into the city of Tampa, but it's not only that, because I've gone to Tallahassee, I've lobbied with Tallahassee, I've gotten Tallahassee to change their minds about housing. So it's about community. I'm able to do this job, I'm ready to do this job, and I'm ready to extend the work that I've done here locally, and that's proof. Not by word, but Google me, seriously Google me. That information will come up. Nothing is missing. So I'm ready for this job.
So through my military experience, I've worked with the interagency, whether it's Department of State, Department of Defense, foreign countries. I know how to work with people to get things done, to get to a common objective. That's why you should trust me, because if you send me to Tallahassee, I'm gonna get things done for you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Darby?
I'm not asking you all to trust me to do anything I haven't done already. I've already been working alongside nonprofits to ensure that people have a voice at the table when it comes to their healthcare, when it comes to their children's education, when it comes to their cost of living, and when it comes to increasing workforce opportunities here in the area. I stand on principle, and I will not sell this community out to get things done on the other side of the aisle, but I will find reasonable partners to bring relief home to our families.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I believe there's good policy and there's bad policy. Let me ask you, is not investing in affordable housing good policy? No, but investing in the 450,000 affordable housing units we need.
Excuse me. For all of you candidates who are on the ballot in November, don't say another word. I need to get these people who are gonna be running in 2018.
So why you should trust me? I've been working in the community and nonprofits for the last 10 years that I've lived in this area. I know what is needed at the level of where working class families are at. I also am a fresh new voice that's going to be up there fighting for people. I'm not beholden to lobbyists, especially not lobbyists in the insurance industry. I'm working for you, not for the people that are causing the problems that we are facing today. The real issues that we need to face need to be fixed from the bottom up, not the top down. We need to make sure that we send leaders to Tallahassee that are not going to be answering to the lobbyists in Tallahassee, but the people they serve.
My name is Mike Suarez, District 64. I have been in this district all my life. I have worked here all my life. When I was on city council, we passed the first ordinance to try and stop human trafficking in this city. That's something that no one that's come here in the last 10 years knows about because he's only been here 10 years. I want to tell you something. When you look and go to West Tampa, Wellswood, and some of the other areas in this district, and you ask them what's been going on, they're going to know that I have that answer. I've been listening to them. I've been going door to door and understand what these people have gone through. Lived here all my life. I am not parachuting in for a job.
Okay, next question. What is one of the major problems facing Florida that receives too little attention, and how would you propose to address it? And I call one of those things insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's big.
Diane, you know, as one of my supporters, we have talked about this in the past. We have an insurance company situation where we are not getting what we paid for. We pay into a fund right now through each and every one of your taxes that go on your insurance policy, and none of it is coming back. The My Safe Florida Home grant should be extended for all of us. This is the one time that I'm going to agree with Governor DeSantis. He had introduced $450 million to go to anybody in the state, and it did not get passed by this legislature. I will do it for you and make sure that you are eligible to get a discounted rate on your insurance and to make sure that the insurance companies answer for it. Thank you.
First of all, you can't trust someone that's being paid by an insurance lobbyist to fix homeowners insurance. Second of all, if you've been doing such a great job, why have you failed to get reelected since you became city council? We need to send people to Tallahassee that are not going to answer to the insurance companies, but bring costs down for you, the people here. We need to bring more firehouses around, to bring call times down so we can actually have real solutions. We need to go out into the community and find out what we can do to build real things, real tangible things to bring down costs. That is not going to happen when you answer to insurance lobbyists.
No. Problems facing Floridians that receive too little attention, and we know that insurance is one. So how will you handle that?
Insurance has been touched on. Housing is a critical need right here in our area. And it's gonna be important for us to invest in things like the missing middle, in workforce development housing, in duplexes, in triplexes, and in accessory dwelling units so that people who live here can begin to make money off of their land.
Right.
So first, we need to be sure that we're increasing the supply. We need to ensure that there is funding for first-time homebuyer programs, more funding, and that we are lowering the rate of AMI for that, so that more people can receive that access to housing.
Good.
And then for the people that are already in housing, we need to do the work to make sure that they can maintain it. Our seniors need to be incentivized so that they can downsize. And that means increasing the tax incentives that they receive when they decide to sell their homes because they are freeing up supply for new families and for people who are looking for housing right now. And then we need to be sure that we hold people accountable to bring down costs for renters.
You know, with the home insurance needs to be addressed, there's no doubt about that, but I want to talk about electricity. Your electricity costs are too high. If you look at, your bill in 2020, it's gone up 60% with T-code. So that's why I want to address, electric companies. There's ways to do that through the Public Service Commission. There's ways to do it with legislation, and that's what I want to tackle.
We often talk about children, education. Teachers are getting paid too little, support staff is getting paid too little. Kids that are not going to college or make the decision not to go to college are missing, maybe in the streets, maybe on the corner selling water. So how do we invest in our kids to really make a change? One of my platforms is about education. The part of my platform is about increasing salaries for teachers, increasing the support staff, because that's really important because they are the foundation that make things work. Trade, how do we make trade look sexy again? Not just a typical trade, but trucking, bringing other things in for our kids to be eligible and be able to do something. So what we are not paying attention to is education and schooling.
One of the areas that I would address, being a caregiver of 2 terminally ill family members, is the support that Florida gives to caregivers and our seniors. We have to do better in investing in our community. We have to make sure that we're taking care of seniors that are aging in place. Those are things that are not talked about. And so many times, seniors are pushed out. Seniors are in the doctor's office having to make a decision of, do I take care of my medicine or do I get food? We have to address those issues. And that's one of the things that I will be focusing on in addition to those others.
The biggest problem right now is affordability. So we need to propose or support legislation and funding that will cap some of these rental increases. Also the zoning, most of the zoning don't allow for the building of ADUs. My wife and I is going to put one in our backyard, but we'll lose our homestead exemption. We also participate in the My Safe Florida Home program, which is about hurricane hardening. Doing that to our home, installing 7 windows, 2 doors, and a sliding glass door, reduced our insurance by 44%. 44%, and that budget for that bill, for that program was replenished when he signed the budget for this year. So that program is up, it's easy to get into. If you're 60 and older, you get first come, first served. But I'm telling you, if you want to see your insurance drop like a rock, we had ours go from $4,000 to $2,170 overnight. And that's huge, but you gotta get more people involved in that. So I'm gonna advocate more for that and try to get additional funding, because this gentleman down the end is right, it does run out.
Okay, thank you very much for those answers. What will you do as a state representative to support the only HBCU in the state university system, FAMU, to provide adequate funding and one of 2 land grant institutions? You all have 30 seconds to answer it, then you have to tell us what you're doing, and they're throwing us out of the building.
I'll go real quick. We're in the legislature, we was able to get 25 million approved for Florida, for FAMU to get the CAS Center done and completed. We also got 35 million reoccurring for Florida Memorial, Bethune-Cookman, and also Edward Waters. Those are private universities. FAMU is a public one. We will continue to advocate and get money into those colleges because it's needed. I've done it. We can continue to get it done.
And that's 1 minute. Was that 30 seconds?
So I got a rattler back there. My money went to FAMU. So I will support FAMU and others, but it starts with accountability on the state level. We have to be transparent and accountable to our government on what's being decided and what's being allocated for other schools. And we have to make sure that our schools aren't left out, that we're making sure they're at the table and showing the benefit, what comes out of FAMU, tell the stories, and make sure they understand that great things come from historically Black colleges and universities.
Let's go.
So, I have a different view. I'll push for the state to give FAMU money, but I think it's time for us to stop begging. I think it's time for us to figure out what's private funding looking like. How do we get our people to support FAMU? That's really important, because then nobody can ever take that money away. We're settling things right now because people are taking things away from us. We need to start standing up, and we need to find the resources, private resources. We need to pour into our school. Your son graduated from it. He's gonna be a great alumni. We'll give money back to the school.
I mean, it begins with equity of resources. We need to make sure all our Florida colleges are getting the same thing. We have a Florida college system that is run up in Tallahassee. So we need to make sure the resources are distributed equally. To Robin's point though, I went to West Point. West Point federally funded, right? But suddenly we have all these boosters now over the last 20 years. So the graduates are giving back. So I would recommend that too, is to look at those private resources to give back to the school that they graduate from.
Let's go.
I believe that we should, as you said, fund schools equitably, but that means with a focus on where the highest need is. And our Black universities and colleges have been under attack federally and in the state house. And I will unapologetically advocate in Tallahassee to make sure that we fully fund them, that we are making sure that they have the resources that they need, that like Robin said, we are helping them in building those partnerships so they can be sustainable over time, and they aren't relying on the state and federal governments, because that's important to do over time. And we've got to get our governor's hands out of the processes in determining who is going to be the president of FAMU and other places. That is no place for our governor to have his hands. So we need accountability, and we have to be unapologetic.
Come on.
So absolutely, we have to get more funding for for historically Black colleges. But we also need to build a coalition of candidates that is going to be able to make that happen. We need to get more Democrats elected. We need to start reaching across the aisle and building relationships with people that have not been speaking to us because everybody's dug into their corners. We need to make sure that when we go up there, we're representative of our communities. And it is important for us to do that because there will be no funding if we have no coalition.
You see this governor destroying our educational system each and every place, everywhere. It's not just FAMU. But FAMU has been always the last place in which money has gone from the state budget. I will fight to make sure that Florida A&M gets their fair share, that we make sure that the president of Florida A&M
Closing in 10 minutes.
that we will make sure that we close her down, who's running Florida A&M, because the only person she listens to is the governor. She does not listen to the constituents of the people that have gone to Florida A&M.
All right. Listen, I want to thank you. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you for being here at St. Blaise Andrews Library tonight. Your presence tonight proves that our community is engaged, informed, and ready to make our voices heard. So let's go out and vote. And we must leave the library immediately. I am so
So you can all have a meeting in the parking lot. Please leave the meeting. I'm sorry that you had a lot of cutlet on your table. Bye.
And Braver.com.
There are gonna go. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to everyone who volunteered. There are signs here. Candidates. Once again, please join the Hillsborough County Democratic Black Caucus. Please exit the building as soon as you can and never getting it.